It was supposed to be unstoppable, a bulletproof beast built for off-road dominance. The Cybertruck was Tesla's crown jewel, but now, in a city no one expected, it's been declared illegal. No accident, no warnings, no headlines in advance. Just a sudden enforcement order that treated Tesla's most hyped machine like a threat to public safety. And that was just the beginning. Across Europe, regulators are slamming doors shut. In Asia, certification applications are being denied. Even in the US, serious questions are starting to surface. Is this really about safety and compliance? Or is the Cybertruck revealing weaknesses in the system that no one's ready to face? Stick with this. By the end, the rules around electric vehicles might not look the same. From sky-high hype to a screeching halt, when Elon Musk revealed the Cybertruck in late November 2019, the reaction was electric. Tesla recorded over 250,000 pre-orders within days. As production neared, that number reportedly soared past 1.9 million. It became one of the most highly anticipated vehicle launches of the century. Tesla wasn't just selling a truck, it was promising a revolution, a bulletproof EV with over 500 miles of range, futuristic looks that defied convention, and rugged performance ready for anything from downtown traffic to desert terrain. Buyers didn't just sign up, they became believers. Forums and social media filled with posts from proud early reservation holders showing off their receipts like trophies. Competitors like Ford, GM, and Rivian quickly shifted gears, pouring investment into electric trucks. Tesla, once the disruptor in sleek luxury sedans, was now gunning for the last great stronghold of gas-powered dominance, the pickup truck. But what came next wasn't a victory for innovation, it was regulatory pushback. While Tesla ramped up production and fed the hype, it overlooked something critical: getting legal approval to operate in the countries it wanted to dominate. That oversight would come back to haunt them. As pre-orders climbed, so did scrutiny. We dug into the fine print. Every clause, every loophole, every legal tripwire Tesla sidestepped. And we found the real reason the Cybertruck disappeared from European streets. If this shortcut saved you hours of searching, hit subscribe. We earned it. Behind the record-breaking numbers was a basic question few thought to ask. Was the Cybertruck ever approved for public roads outside North America? The answer, no. To be legally driven in the UK or the European Union, any vehicle must have what's called a certificate of conformity, official proof that it meets all safety, environmental, and design regulations. It's not optional. Without it, a car can't be insured, registered, or driven legally. For most automakers, getting this certification is a standard, if sometimes slow, process. But Tesla made a deliberate choice to build the Cybertruck exclusively for the US market. In Elon Musk's own words, designing to meet global standards would have watered down the truck's bold design, and that wasn't a compromise Tesla was willing to make. So when a Cybertruck suddenly showed up on the streets of Manchester, it didn't have the paperwork it needed to be there. According to the UK's Department for Transport, nearly 80% of imported vehicles experience delays due to documentation. But this wasn't a delay, it was a disqualification. One British owner, eager to be among the first, tried to outsmart the system, registering his Cybertruck overseas and importing it through a legal loophole. It backfired. Police didn't just impound the truck, they made an example of it. Without that certificate of conformity, nothing else mattered. Insurance, foreign plates, even the truck's performance, all irrelevant without the proper approval. As other European regulators took notice, Tesla's dream of worldwide domination began to unravel. But paperwork was just the start. What followed was a storm of public backlash and cancelled orders. News of the Manchester seizure went viral. Within hours, social media lit up. Tesla fans demanded answers, flashing their reservation confirmations like protest signs. Critics celebrated what they called Tesla's arrogance finally catching up with them. Hashtags like Resh Yash Ban the Blade and Resh Cyberflop took off. Memes showed the Cybertruck as everything from a failed stealth bomber to a dystopian punchline. And the outrage didn't stay online. Tesla's customer support inboxes were reportedly overwhelmed with cancellation requests. According to leaked data cited by industry analysts, refund claims jumped by 15% in just 2 weeks after the Manchester incident. That translated to hundreds of thousands of pre-orders disappearing almost overnight. But the biggest blow wasn't the lost revenue, it was the damage to trust. Tesla had built the Cybertruck brand around bold claims: unbreakable, unstoppable, unlike anything else. So when the truck was suddenly stopped and banned, it directly contradicted everything customers had believed. Some early supporters took their frustration public. One posted a video tearing up his reservation slip saying, "I believed in the dream, but I didn't sign up to be a legal experiment." Others weren't angry, just confused. "We waited years," one customer asked. "Why wasn't all this figured out before the first truck even shipped?" Tesla's silence in the early days only made things worse. Without an official statement, misinformation spread fast. Rumors flew that more trucks were about to be impounded, or that the Cybertruck might never meet European safety standards at all. And once fear starts circulating, no amount of PR can catch up. Meanwhile, the real issue wasn't some obscure legal technicality. It was the design itself. Every sharp angle, every rigid panel, every futuristic feature that made the Cybertruck iconic was also what made it incompatible with safety laws. Regulators didn't reject the truck because they were caught off guard. They rejected it because it defied the principles modern safety standards are built on. As panic spread and confidence faded, a deeper question began to surface. What made this truck so fundamentally out of step with the modern road? The answer wasn't about looks. It was about a clash between bold engineering and strict legal limits. Regulators around the world started breaking down the Cybertruck's design, and what they found was more dangerous than expected. Crumple zones versus Crusader armor. The very thing that made the Cybertruck stand out, its stainless steel exoskeleton, also made it a safety concern. Most vehicles are designed to crumple in specific areas during a crash, absorbing energy and protecting both passengers and pedestrians. Engineers intentionally build crumple zones into the front, sides, and rear of cars to reduce the force of impact. The Cybertruck doesn't crumple. It resists. Built from ultra-hard stainless steel, the same material Tesla says can take a sledgehammer hit or resist small arms fire, the Cybertruck acts more like armor than a safety shell. That extreme rigidity has raised alarms in safety tests and simulations, particularly in Europe. Instead of reducing the damage in a collision, its hard exterior could increase it. Data from road safety agencies confirms these fears. Even at low speeds, a collision between the Cybertruck and a pedestrian could cause severe injuries. Unlike a traditional bumper that cushions impact, the Cybertruck reflects the energy, turning every bump into a potentially dangerous blow. And it's not just about pedestrians. In multi-vehicle crashes, the Cybertruck's rigid body doesn't absorb impact. It transfers it. The energy goes straight into the other vehicle, potentially increasing injuries to those inside. Regulators in the UK, Germany, and Japan flag this as a serious violation of modern safety standards, which are designed to protect everyone on the road, not just the people inside the heaviest vehicle. This created a fundamental contradiction: an unbreakable truck in a world that demands softness. And the deeper experts looked, the worse it got. The 3,500 kilogram problem. In the UK, most everyday vehicles fall under a 3,500 kilogram weight limit. That's the upper boundary for what someone with a standard Category B driver's license, the kind most people have, is allowed to operate. But the Cybertruck, when fully loaded with passengers, gear, and optional add-ons, crosses that threshold. That bumps it into Category C1, a classification meant for commercial vehicles like ambulances, box trucks, and delivery vans. And with that change comes stricter rules, more testing, medical exams, and a completely different license. These aren't requirements designed for families or commuters. They're meant for trained professionals. Tesla's own documentation confirms it. The Cybertruck can weigh more than 3,500 kilograms, which means that, under current UK law, many Cybertruck buyers wouldn't even be legally allowed to drive it without upgrading their license. And it's not just the UK. Other countries have similar thresholds, and Tesla's design pushes right past them. In some regions, heavy vehicle weight is tolerated under more relaxed rules. But in the European Union and the UK, the Cybertruck's weight disqualifies it from casual, everyday use. And it gets worse once you factor in real-life conditions. Loading it with passengers, cargo, or even attaching a trailer can push it well over the legal limit. Suddenly, a simple grocery run could put the driver in violation of multiple road laws. Regulators didn't just see a heavy truck, they saw a logistical headache. One that would saddle everyday owners with complex compliance rules many wouldn't even know they were breaking. The issue wasn't something Tesla could fix with a software update. It was tied to the very structure of the vehicle, its oversized battery, reinforced frame, and rigid steel body. And just when it seemed the weight problem was enough of a barrier, authorities turned their focus to something even more visible: the truck's radical angular design. Sharp angles, sharper criticism. Across Europe, Japan, and other regions, vehicle designs must meet strict pedestrian safety standards, and that includes shape. Regulations require that vehicles have softened corners, rounded edges, and surfaces designed to minimize harm in the event of a collision with a person. But the Cybertruck's wedge-like futuristic silhouette, full of razor-sharp lines and hard angles, clashed head-on with those rules. Tesla used 1.4mm thick stainless steel panels for the exterior. Those panels can't be shaped into the rounded 3.22mm minimum radius required by European safety laws. The angular look wasn't just a design choice, it was central to the Cybertruck's identity: bold, unapologetic, aggressive. And regulators called it dangerous. Pedestrian and cyclist safety advocates quickly weighed in, warning that the truck's hard edges turned even minor impacts into serious risks. One watchdog group called the vehicle a mobile guillotine, a phrase that went viral and fueled a wave of media attention and online outrage. And it wasn't just about the corners. Regulators also flagged the Cybertruck's hood line, side mirrors, tailgate, and wheel arches, all of which posed hazards in markets that prioritize soft, impact-absorbing design. Fixing this wouldn't just mean small adjustments, it would mean re-engineering core parts of the vehicle's body. That would dilute the truck's aggressive image and require costly retooling. This wasn't about regulators misunderstanding innovation. It was about a vehicle that actively rejected the safety principles those laws were built on. And the situation escalated even more when the spotlight turned to one of the Cybertruck's most futuristic features: its steering system. The steer-by-wire showstopper traditional vehicles use a mechanical linkage, a physical connection between the steering wheel and the front wheels. It's a system with over a century of trust behind it, valued for its reliability and transparency. Inspectors can see it, test it, and verify that it works. The Cybertruck doesn't use that system. Instead, it features a steer-by-wire setup. The steering wheel sends digital signals to control modules, which then trigger actuators to turn the wheels. There are no cables, no shafts, just software and sensors. In theory, this allows for more precision and flexibility. But in practice, it raised serious red flags for European and UK regulators. The concern wasn't that the technology was flawed, it was that current safety inspections weren't designed for it. Inspectors couldn't physically examine or manually test the steering system. Without a mechanical link, they couldn't verify its safety. And that's a problem, because in places like the UK, laws explicitly require that critical vehicle control systems be manually testable. That rule exists to make sure that, in the event of an electronic failure, a vehicle doesn't become uncontrollable. Despite its technical brilliance, Tesla's steer-by-wire system didn't meet that legal standard. To make things worse, real-world videos began surfacing of drivers performing tight, high-speed turns using Tesla's new digital steering. While they looked cool, these clips only deepened fears. To regulators, it wasn't just innovative, it looked unpredictable. Because if a vehicle's ability to steer isn't physically anchored, it enters a gray area that many regulators consider unacceptable without deep, rigorous testing. To Tesla, steer-by-wire was a breakthrough. To lawmakers, it was a leap too far, without the safety net of proven inspection methods. Bridging that gap would take more than explanation. It would either require a fundamental redesign or a major change to the rules, and neither option would come quickly. As pressure built on Tesla's leadership, the company found itself trapped in a difficult position. The Cybertruck was both a technological triumph and a regulatory nightmare. The question was no longer, can the truck be delivered? It became, should Tesla change it to fit the world or fight to change the world around it? Tesla was now facing a pivotal decision. Would it go back to the drawing board and redesign the Cybertruck? Would it take regulators to court? Or would it double down in the few markets that still welcomed its bold innovation? The path they chose wouldn't just shape the future of the Cybertruck. It would define the credibility of Tesla's global strategy. Redesign or retreat. Tesla stood at a crossroads. The Cybertruck, once celebrated as a revolutionary step forward in electric vehicle design, was now encountering resistance in more than 120 countries. With bans, restrictions, and growing public skepticism, the company had to face a hard reality. Could the Cybertruck be modified to meet global safety standards, or would that destroy the very character that made it iconic? Inside Tesla, the conversation grew urgent. Engineers began proposing changes, smoothing out sharp edges, altering bumper heights, integrating crumple zones, and even downsizing the battery pack to bring the vehicle's weight under legal limits in key markets. But every possible fix came with a cost. A smaller battery would mean less range and reduced towing power. Rounded edges would dilute the truck's aggressive, futuristic aesthetic. Even suggesting a softer steel body sparked pushback from Tesla's own design team. Financial analysts estimated that a full redesign to meet UK and EU safety standards could take 18 to 24 months and cost upwards of $600 million. That kind of delay could hand market leadership to rivals like Ford and Rivian, companies ready to deliver EV pickups in markets Tesla had aimed to dominate. Elon Musk had once called the Cybertruck the future of utility. Backtracking on that vision, even slightly, felt like betrayal to many inside Tesla. But ignoring regulators also meant locking the truck out of massive global markets, including regions where customers had already placed hundreds of thousands of pre-orders. If redesigning felt like compromising the dream, Tesla began to consider another path, fighting the bans head-on. Courtroom clash. Legal battles are nothing new for Tesla. The company has gone toe-to-toe with regulators, journalists, and financial institutions before. Elon Musk has made it clear he's willing to challenge the status quo to protect Tesla's independence. Now, that same defiant stance was being considered again. This time, to take on the growing number of Cybertruck bans. Tesla's legal team explored filing appeals and lawsuits against transportation authorities in countries where the truck had been blocked. One of their arguments focused on inconsistency. Larger, heavier combustion engine trucks had already been approved in many of these same regions. If those vehicles were allowed, why not the Cybertruck? There was also precedent for legal victories. In a few rare cases, smaller automakers producing limited-run vehicles had successfully challenged type approval regulations in European courts. Sometimes, courts had even ruled in favor of innovation, granting exemptions to vehicles that passed safety tests using alternative methods. But litigation came with major risks. Lawsuits could take years to resolve. During that time, Tesla would be barred from delivering or selling the Cybertruck in key markets. Investors might interpret prolonged legal battles as instability. Worse, losing a case could make future approval even harder, as courts might reinforce bans that could have otherwise been negotiated. Filing lawsuits would also pull resources away from product development and manufacturing, redirecting them into legal work and damage control. Tesla would have to manage media backlash, coordinate with international legal teams, and go up against regulatory agencies with experience, resources, and political influence. Still, legal resistance had one big advantage. It let Tesla protect its vision. No compromises, no softened design, no redesign delays. If Tesla won, it could not only keep the Cybertruck's identity intact, It could also set a powerful legal precedent for future EV designs across the industry. But even within Tesla, there were doubts. A legal win in one country wouldn't guarantee access in others, and there was no certainty courts would rule in Tesla's favor at all. The global landscape remained fragmented, with each country enforcing its own regulations. As Tesla's executives debated the merits of launching legal battles, another idea started gaining ground, one that didn't involve lawsuits or a full redesign. It was simple: focus on the one region where the Cybertruck was still welcome with open arms. North America, the last stronghold. The Cybertruck was made for the US, designed in California, built in Texas, and fully approved for use across North America. Here, it didn't face the legal obstacles blocking it overseas. US safety agencies had already cleared it for passenger protection and structural integrity. There were no bans on its sharp-edged design, no restrictions on steer-by-wire technology, and no licensing issues tied to its weight. In short, it had a green light. That made North America more than just home. It made it strategic. Demand remained strong, with long wait lists and early sightings sparking buzz, especially in Texas. American customers didn't see the Cybertruck as dangerous. They saw it as daring, something fresh, bold, and exciting in a world of look-alike pickups. For Tesla, doubling down on its home turf meant momentum, without the delays of legal fights or redesigns. The company could focus on what it did best: building, delivering, and promoting. In the US, where values like freedom, power, and innovation resonate deeply, the Cybertruck could thrive as a symbol of bold engineering. The branding practically wrote itself: built in Texas, engineered for extremes. Unlike anything else on the road, it tapped into a uniquely American narrative: independence, strength, and breaking away from conformity. But while this domestic focus offered a clear path forward, it came at a visible cost. The price of pulling back Tesla had long positioned itself as a global force, building factories on 3 continents, serving customers in more than 30 countries, and pushing the boundaries of electric vehicle technology worldwide. The Cybertruck was supposed to be a global product, a game changer on every continent. Now, it was becoming a US-only release. For investors, that was troubling. Markets across Europe, Asia, and beyond represented billions in long-term revenue. Shrinking the Cybertruck's reach to one region wasn't just a missed opportunity, it was a strategic setback. And Tesla's silence only fueled uncertainty. Without clear answers, speculation grew, often turning pessimistic. More than just a financial concern, this shift risked harming Tesla's public image. A company built on global ambition suddenly looked like it was stepping back, or worse, giving up. For Elon Musk, who had once declared the Cybertruck a worldwide revolution, the situation likely felt like a contradiction of everything Tesla had promised. Bold ideas were supposed to scale. Now, they seemed to be running headfirst into a wall of regulation. Tesla needed a way forward, one that preserved the Cybertruck's radical identity without permanently closing the door on international markets. That's when a new idea emerged. Not mass market, not retreat. A new category. Instead of abandoning the Cybertruck's design or fighting regulators in court, Tesla could choose a different path. Reframe the vehicle entirely. Under European law, there's a special category for low-volume specialty vehicles. These are cars and trucks that don't meet the usual safety requirements, but are allowed on the road in small numbers under special exemptions. If Tesla reclassified the Cybertruck as a niche luxury or specialty product, similar to a high-performance sports car or premium off-road SUV, it could keep its design exactly as it is. No softened edges, no design compromises, no reduced range. The trade-off? Tesla would have to limit the number of units sold in each country. Other brands have used this path before. Vehicles like the Mercedes-Benz G Professional or select Lamborghinis have entered global markets this way, sold not as daily drivers, but as collector's items or elite machines for a small group of buyers. Tesla could do the same. The Cybertruck would no longer aim for mass adoption in Europe or Asia. It would be marketed as a cutting-edge design statement for the few. The scarcity would justify the high price. The rarity would boost its appeal. And most importantly, Tesla would stay visible on the global stage while avoiding the toughest regulatory conflicts. Of course, this approach had its costs. Fewer vehicles, higher prices, less access for everyday consumers. In making this shift, Tesla would temporarily step away from its identity as a mass-market disruptor and move closer to being a premium innovator, at least when it came to the Cybertruck. But in doing so, it could preserve the vehicle's bold essence and maintain its presence in international markets, even if only in limited form. A defining moment. Whatever path Tesla chooses next, redesign, legal fight, regional focus, or niche repositioning, one thing is certain: the decision will shape more than just the Cybertruck's future. It will influence how Tesla is seen on the global stage and may even redefine how the world balances innovation with regulation. Meanwhile, other automakers are already watching, adapting, and adjusting their strategies based on Tesla's experience. What happens next won't just affect one truck or one company. It could shift the entire auto industry, changing how daring ideas are judged, regulated, and brought to life. So, what do you think? Should Tesla redesign the Cybertruck? Take the fight to regulators? Retreat to North America? Or lean into the niche luxury strategy? Has innovation gone too far? Or are the rules just holding it back? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching.